Hey everyone, how are you going? Today I'm going to go over my fourth place Mecha Freezer Blue Yellow Aegis deck profile. It was the TAC regionals that occurred yesterday for me, which was the 17th of July. Let's just get right into it. So we're going to start off with the leader. Mecha Freezer is a leader that has been doing very well in the meta. And for good reason. So on the Unawakened side, it has a permanent. You can only activate extra cards once per turn. Second permanent, when activating a mono yellow extra card from your hand, you may add one card from your life to your hand. If you do, reduce the cost of that card by one yellow. Definitely very nice. And then it's got when this card attacks, draw one. And awaken if your life's at 4 or less, draw one, untap one. And flip your card over. Then on the Awakened side, it's got a similar permanent. When activating a mono yellow extra card with an energy cost of 2 or less from your hand, you may add one card from your life to your hand. If you do, activate that card without paying its energy cost. So you can't activate a 3 cost extra card for 1, but you can still activate any extra mono yellow extra card with an energy cost of 2 or less by just taking a life, which is really impactful. Then we have when this card attacks, draw one. And another order, once per turn, when you activate a mono yellow extra card from your hand, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode, which comes up a lot and is very, very impactful. Just moving on to the Aegis package. So, blue yellow mecha and Aegis has been played around with a fair bit. Recently, you'll have seen videos on Crossworlds, and Joey went over his team's blue yellow version. And I decided I wanted to play blue-yellow purely because when I opened my prize support from the last regionals, I opened 3 Zamasus. So I was like, cool, let's just give this deck a go before it gets hit from the ban list. But anyway, we have 4 Violent Rush Bojacks. This is your Aegis card. So you're right, it's for 1 yellow. You rival it with the blue-yellow card. Then it has Aegis once per turn. Also has Barrier, which is really important. When this card activates its Aegis skill, draw 1 card. Very nice effect. It means when you're discarding for Aegis, you're not actually losing out on hand size, which is really important. Then Hit Rapid Movement is the card we are using to combo out Violent Rush Bojack. If you have a blue-yellow multicolor card in your energy, reduce the combo cost of this card in your hand by 1. We do have 11 blue-yellow cards, all of which are on the screen. So it is quite often that we're going to be charging multicolor turn 1 and passing. Then it does have a neat effect. When you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards placed at the bottom of the deck. This has come up just the only other time I played Mecha Freezer before yesterday. I got Android 17, no card in hand, top deck, hit rapid movement, played it for 4, and bounced their blocker, so it was quite nice. And then Zamasu the Eliminator. The reason I wanted to play this deck, it forces your opponent to play around things when playing their unison. So as counterplay, play this card. If the card being played has an energy cost of 4 or less, return to its owner's hand instead. So note how it says card, it means it also hits unison, which is really important. And then when this card is played, draw 1 to choose one of your opponent's energies and switch it to rest mode. Very, very impactful card. Moving on, we've got the main reason, besides as a Master of the Eliminator, that we actually charge multicolor energy is for Senzu Bean. Senzu Bean is a very strong card, and this deck has a fair bit of dual attack in it. So Senzu Bean being able to essentially for 1 energy, untapping an energy and giving 10k total power, 10k power in total to a dual attacker is really, really nice, really impactful. And then we've got the only unison deck, which is Vegeta Unison of Fury. It's got to activate main, choose this card or one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest, add a marker to this card, so you can plus it up slowly. Then you got activate main, neg 1. Your opponent can't attack with battle cards with an energy cost greater than their current energy. This normally comes up a fair bit. I didn't use it once, but it is very impactful when needed. Then activate main, choose one of your opponent's energy, switch it to rest mode. Then this card gains 5k, double strike, and dual attack for the turn. This effect is very, very strong. I used it for multiple reasons. One, just to tap down your opponent's last energy and swing in for game. Or just, I used it to even clear unison sometimes because 3 energy, for a double strike dual attack. It's not 3 energy and you rest one of your cards for a double strike dual attack. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It definitely has come up and is quite impactful. Moving on to our extra cards, we have 4 Unite Assemble. This is the bread and butter extra card for the deck. So basically, on the Unawakened side, you take a life and you pay 1. to be able to draw 2 cards. And then on the Awaken side, you take a life and you just get to draw 2, which is really nice. However, it has an additional effect. If all your opponent's energy is in rest mode, choose one U9 card in your deck with an energy cost of 2 or less, and then play it, then shuffle your deck. Now, we only have, spoiler, we only have one U9 in this deck, which is Basil, because Basil is the best U9 and the only one you really need. And just being able to play, just say your opponent's tapped out and you really want to push for game this turn. You can go U9, take a life, search your deck for a Basil, play the Basil. Swing once with the Basil. So Basil is a 19k dual attack for those who don't know, if they have 5 or more cards of rest. So you swing with Basil, and then Basil restands, then you swing with your leader or something else, you combo Basil away, and then you can do another Uniting Assemble to get another Basil out. And Basil on play draws a card, so it's really, really strong. Then the next really impactful card is Power of the Super Saiyans. So Power of the Super Saiyans is a negate. And unfortunately, the one loss I had was I forgot Power of the Super Saiyans was a negate as well, and I discarded it off an effect instead of discarding another card. Having this last negate in my hand would have essentially secured me the game, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. Mistakes like that happen. So it is a counter-attack, but then it also has an activate battle. So if your leader is mono yellow, draw 1 card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards or unison, switch it to rest mode. You can't activate the activate battle skills on copies of this card for a turn, so it essentially has a limit 1. Then it's got permanent. If you have 1 or more mono yellow energy in active mode, you can activate this card's activate battle skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So this is essentially like there's a Master Super combo, but in an extra card that replaces itself. So it's you don't get the combo, but you get to switch one of the battle cards or unisons to rest instead of battle cards and leader. Slight difference. It matters a little bit, but not too much. And just being the fact that it replaces itself is really important. And it means we can run non-Master Super combos. Because the Master Super combos, they don't draw you cards, so you don't ever get too far with them. However, this replaces itself, which is really important. It's just a really good card in general. Vegeta's Final Flash is another amazing card, because you can take a life for it. If not, it's just a activate battle 15k to one of your battle cards or leaders, and then if all your energy is yellow when you activate this card, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and negate its skills for the duration of the turn. So this swing with a double strike, and you just Final Flash it, you're in a really good spot. Vegeta's Final Flash, really amazing card. Can't say enough about it. Such a valuable card. Then moving on to the other extra cards we have in the deck, we have 2 Flying Nimbus. Flying Nimbus is like the yellow floodgate, but it's not super impactful. If I'm being honest, because other floodgates, for example, Violent Ray, is essentially just when you use it against the right deck, it ends their turn, right? If you're using against Dark Broly, it ends their turn. Since Shenron, it ends their turn. Flying Nimbus, it gives them another battle card attack. So if they swung with a battle card, they're going to end up with 1 battle card attack going through, a unison attack, and a leader attack going through. There's still 3 attacks for discarding 2 cards. So it's not the best negate anymore. However, it is still impactful, still useful. I, however, never got around to using it. For the effect, I used it just for a negate. I probably could have discarded the card and won the game that I did lose. However, I was just banking on the fact that the Vegex player with like not too many cards in hand didn't have another attack, considering he had used all his resources, but he had the Kaioseka in hand, which I'll go into later. Then you've got Cold Bloodlust. So if your leader is a Frieza's Army, the battle card being played has its skills negated for the duration of the turn. Insanely good card, insanely good effect. It is limited to 1, which is why we only run 1 of it. But it is like a pseudo secret rare in the deck. When you see it, you keep it, and it comes up. It really does come up. Then Final Spirit Cannon. Activate main, choose 1. So you either choose one of your opponent's cards, switch it to rest mode, or you choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode with the energy cost of 4 or less and KO it. I've never used that second effect, but switching an opponent's energy to rest mode for taking a life is very, very good. I think I used it once yesterday, but not too many times, but it can come up a lot, and it's definitely a very good card. in this more aggressive version of the deck. Let's move on to the more aggressive battle card part of it. So we have 3 Bergamo Ferocious Roar. This is just to tap down any loose energy. People are getting really good with playing around Mecha in terms of having all their battle card taps, and so you can't like you can't power the Super Saiyans to rest a battle card or a Unison. So it's hard to get Bergamo Ferocious Roar consistently, but there are a lot of ways to to get your opponent to switch cards to rest mode, which we'll go into a little later, because there's 2 other battle cards that we have that help a lot in that scenario. Then we have Basil Fatal Rampage. When you play this card, draw 1, activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in rest mode, this card gains 15k and dual attack until the start of your opponent's next main phase. Now, Basil is the best U9. I do not run Shapil. I was thinking about running a singular Sorrel and Hop as another just blue-yellow card and another target for U9 Assemble. But Shapil is too easily played around in the current meta. There are a lot of cards that so many decks just have simple spot removal for it now. It's quite easy to play around. Decks that play Unison on 2 will just tap 2 for Unison. Or they can just not leave they can just leave 1 energy open, and then at that point, late game Shapil is useless, right? Like if you have 5 energy and you're attacking to the Shapil, you're like, oh no, that's 1 energy gone, right? It's not super impactful late game, and early game, it's very rarely that you actually get the full effect of Uniting off. So it's not just it's simply just not worth this one in the deck at the moment. And then you got Great Ape Bardock Raiders Warcry. This card is quite impactful when you see it. It is a early pressure with double strike. You combo with it, so it's a 10k combo for 2 energy. So you can combo out of attack or essentially push an attack through on the offensive end. Then when you combo with it, after you play it, when you play this card, draw 1, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. So that can trigger Bergamo if you're in that scenario. But besides that, it's good defensive tool because it can essentially stop 2 attacks, combo out of 1, switch another battle card to rest mode, or it's a good offensive tool by essentially pushing the attack through and having a 20k double strike. Really good card. However, sometimes 2 energy is a bit sparse, so don't want to clog up your hand too much. Moving on to the rest of the battle cards, we have 2 Mecha Frieza Robotic Riposte. So this is a counter. This is a negate. So you negate the attack, play the card. It's a 3-cost negate. However, if your lead is yellow and your opponent has 2 or more energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each yellow extra card in your energy and drop. So it will end up becoming a 1 because you still have to pay that 1 specified cost. When you play this card from your hand, each time your opponent would attack with a non-unison card for the turn, they must choose one of their cards in active mode and switch it to rest. This can trigger Bergamo. So you can essentially play this, they switch something to rest, and then you Bergamo just resting whatever else you don't want. It's a very strong negate. It limits their defense for the turn, for your following turn, which is really good. Very strong card. Then we have Son Goku Absolute Annihilation. This was a MVP for the day. It won me many matchups. I think it won me 2 or 3 of my 6 games, which is pretty insane. It's got Deflect, Barrier, and Unique. It's a 3-cost. There's no way to cheat this out. Permanent. If your leader is yellow, your opponent can't activate extra cards unless they switch one of their energy to rest mode. This is another way to trigger Bergamo. Against blue, like if they're Dimension Magic or if they're using Big Bang Revenge, whatever the blue baby Dimension Magic is, they're not actually plussing. They're not untapping energy. They go even on energy, which is really important. Very, very good card. And against Mecha Frieza Mirror, it's a curse. If you can tap Mecha Frieza out, you essentially just win. That's what I did in my Mecha Frieza Mirror. On 4 or 5, I played this. I activated an extra card, switched one of their battle cards to rest mode, and then I went in with a Bergamo, tapped them out, and then just swung. And they had no combo power because all the combo power was in extra cards. And then we have Swift Retaliation Cooler. This is a counter, so if your leader is yellow, negate the counter and play this card. When you play this card, draw 1. Then if you have 6 or more cards in rest mode, draw 1 more card. So you're always going to have 4 cards in rest mode. Guaranteed when you play Swift Retaliation Cooler. Because you're going to have the card that you're swinging with, and then you're going to have your 3 energy that you pay for Swift Retaliation Cooler. So there's only there's 2 extra cards in rest mode, you're in a really good spot. you get to draw an extra card, which is lovely. But still, drawing one and getting a 15k beta on the board is still just nice. Very good card. Never came up for me today, but I had options if there wasn't, like, I had it in hand if there wasn't a gate that was going to stop me. Now we're on to our non-yellow battle cards. So we have one Furthering Destruction Champa. Pretty self-explanatory. It gives double strike to the attacking card. Koitsukai Mechanical Courage. This card, I wanted it in there for the Mecha Mirror, so they couldn't just like rival a Bojack on me. I wanted it for Blue Baby, I wanted it for King Piccolo, and I wanted it for just random decks that play stuff on my turn. I didn't get it out against the Mega Fraser Mirror. I got it out against Blue Baby, and I got it out against Bojack. I didn't win on the turns that I played this card, but my opponent's defense was severely lacking on that turn, which means they had to use extra resources to defend. So if it was like a one card and just negate they could have used, they had to use like two cards to combo out of the attack. And while I didn't end on that turn, I still gained a lot of advantage because I got rid of useless cards in my hand. I pushed to the point, so they had to defend efficiently that turn. And because they couldn't, because Koitsukai, they were defending relatively efficiently, and that just netted me advantage. So you don't have to win on the turn that you play Koitsukai Mechanical Courage, but you have to have pressure on the turn you play Koitsukai Mechanical Courage. And then we have the SS Bardock Fighting Against Fate. It's a Overwhelm 6 dual attack. This is really good. Whenever you see this card, you're like, cool. If you see this plus Bean, that combo is untap 1, 30k dual attack, which is really good. 30k dual attack is really, really strong. If they don't have like a floodgate, each of the 30k swings, they're gonna have to dump 4 cards or two super combos, or one super combo and one card, and 2 cards to combo out of it. It's a lot of advantage to be able to push through with a SS4 Bardock Fighting Against Fate with a couple beans on it. And then finally in the deck we have our 4 Krillin super combos. We run Krillin because Krillin is better than Zamasu in terms of drawing cards, and we're trying to be an aggressive deck, so we want as many cards in hand as possible. Mecha Frieza used to be a deck that couldn't combo out of too many things because it just had so many extra cards clunking its hand, and it didn't have enough energy to deal with that. With Bean, you have a bunch of 1k combos in the deck, but with Bean, with Krillin, you can bottom deck all the 1k combos you can't use. You can Bean to untap energy, and like you can use Aegis to untap energy to be able to combo with these 1k combo cards. So you have a surprising amount of combo power. As I'll go into, the one loss I did have, I had 5 cards in hand, and I comboed up to about 90k with those 5 cards, with just super combos, Aegis, 1k combo cards. It really just stacked up a high amount. But that's what you can do with Mecha Frieza nowadays. And then you've got Supreme Kai of Time, Space, Time Unraveler. This is the best secret around the game. Cell Xeno was arguably there, and Baby Hatch is also arguably there. Cell Xeno got eroded, so it's no longer anywhere near as good. But Supreme Kai of Time clears problem unisons, and that is 99% of the reason I play this card. Is a lot of unisons are a problem to deal with, they're hard to swing into because people protect their unisons a lot. Being able to play this for 2, and like basically it's a 2-cost board wipe that also clears their unison, is really, really insane. And the fact that this deck draws so much with U9s, with Power of the Super Saiyans, Basil draws a card on play, Krillin is a draw 2, bottom deck 1 super combo, so really impactful. Whereas Warcry draws a card on play, Aegis cycles through a card, Zamasu draws a card on play. This deck goes through your deck. A lot of time you're going to have like 10 cards left in deck, so you're going to see like your Kai 80% again. So it's really, and just being able to, like, if you see Kai in your opening hand, you keep it, right? So being able to see Supreme Kai of Time, you're just in such a good spot because you can get rid of your opponent's unisons, and that is like such an important part of the game right now. Unisons are so impactful. Just being able to remove their unisons is just really, really good. Let's move on to the matchups that I had. So round 1, I played against Vegex. This matchup was a bit awkward. Neither of us drew really well. My turn 1 was Charge Pass. My turn 2 was Charge Pass. I'm not taking my own life against Vegex. They do that well enough for me. I just basically have to defend and establish a board where I can. I got Koitsukai on turn 2, on turn 3, and on turn 4. And I somehow survived through turn 5 with just a bunch of like the Kai Secret Rare to stop Unison attacks, being able to Power Super Saiyan to rest 2 cards. Yeah, it was a lot of just like niche defense. Vegeta's Final Flash to like get rid of Double Strike, stuff like that. Barely made it let me survive. And then when I finally had like a opening, I went in for the kill, and there's not much that decks can do against a Mecha Frieza deck that goes into the kill, because you can drop that 3-drop Son Goku Absolute Annihilation, and they can't like use their negates, and you can just cold bloodlust stuff, and it's really hard to get through a Mecha Frieza that is trying to kill you. Round 2 was a Mecha Frieza skillless deck. It was running the 3-drop Dragon Unison. It was running the Icarus SR from Draft Box 6, the one that you combo with it. You get to play 2 1-drop skillless guys. It was a decent deck. I made one major misplay, which was Zamasu the 2 1-drops being played, because the turn after he just played the big 3-drop Unison, and I was like, oh, that's sad. I really wish that I held that Zamasu, because Zamasuing that would have been lovely. However, once turn after, I played my Vegeta Unison to clear his Unison, and I cleared the rest of his board, and he didn't have another Unison to follow it up, so I could then the following turn play my Son Goku Absolute Annihilation, tap him out, and at that point he had nothing left to do, because I just tapped 3 for it, Awaken, I've got 2 energy open, being to get more energy open. The deck gets quite obnoxious once you start beating and having like using 7 energy on turn 4. It's pretty hard to get through. I had so much energy, he had nothing to do because he couldn't activate extra cards because I had that Son Goku Absolute Annihilation there. And then he made a misplay when he awakened. The extra card he did use was a Power of the Super Saiyan for free, and which he had to switch his energy to rest mode because of Absolute Annihilation. Round 3 was Bulma. This was unfortunate for my opponent. So Bulma, it tries to play the Shenron Unison on 2 and just put blockers out for free advantage. Mainly Yamcha the Lawless, but with that Unison, and it takes a slice to 4, so it can like quite easily just go cool on 4. You draw 1, awaken, untap 2, draw 2 more on the backside, and then Yamcha the Lawless draws like you a card every turn. It accrues a fair bit of hand advantage. However, I went first. I went charge multicolor pass. On turn 2, I charged a yellow pass. He went to play Shenron. I Zamasu'd it. The next turn, I charged something, paid something for 1. He went to play Shenron again. I Zamasu'd it again. And from that point onwards, he was just like 2 turns behind me. Don't get me wrong, Bulma's still really hard to deal with. I only got through once I found my Kai Secret Rare to wipe his board and his Unison. And then there wasn't too much he could do from that point onwards, because it's hard to, it's quite difficult to push in against a Mecha Frieza as a Bulma deck. However, he did go for game on a swing with, I think it was his leader, I'm not 100% sure, but he played the 1-drop Frieza that you can pay 1 energy and neg 10k to my leader. So he ended up swinging with something. I think he swung with the Frieza. He probably should have swung with the leader. But he swung with the Frieza, and he comboed all the way up to 94k, including like the neg 50. So it was like 44k, and my leader got neg 50. And yeah, so I comboed out to like 95 relatively easily. Was still 6 cards in hand, and was able just to push him down the following turn. So that was quite nasty. Round 4 was for Jex. That was David Liu. Now, one thing that I don't like is the Liu brothers. That's a joke. I love them. But my last 4 tournaments, I've gone X1, and 3 of those losses have been to the Lius. Alan once and David twice. I just can't beat them. Yeah, it was a close game. I could have beat David if I was playing around him not having Kai in hand, because the chances were he didn't have Kai in hand. And so I didn't want to waste resources that I could have used defensively the following turn. However, could have used offensively the following turn. However, I probably still had enough in hand to push through So I don't think I needed to be so conservative on my resources to try to push through. But he had the Kai, and because he had the Kai, I couldn't do much because of my route of play. If I kept Power of the Super Saiyan in my hand, so I negated with Flying Nimbus. I chose not to discard, but I had to warp a card because he had a True Fighting Spirit. If I kept the Power of the Super Saiyan in my hand to negate his next attack, I would have been fine. However, I chose to discard it because I'd already activated Battle on a Power of Super Saiyan for the turn. So that was my mistake. But hey, it's alright. Round 5, I played Alan Lu. So I played David's brother. I finally got my first win against the Lus. He was playing Bojack. It was a unique Bojack build. Well, it was like a generic Bojack build, but Bojack's a unique deck. It doesn't have too many negates because of the Leaders Activate Battle, or I think it's Activate Battle, or it's an auto that you pay 1, untap 4, and you can't activate negates from your hand for the turn. However, once I got Absolute Annihilation on the board, and I was slowly able to tap him out and like control his board a bit, it was quite hard for him to do anything. I'm used to playing decks that control the board really well. However, yellow controls the board by resting cards instead of by removing them from the play, from the field. So it is awkward, like trying to keep your opponent's board as small as possible while still like being able to do the rest of your things effectively. But yeah, was able to get through there. He didn't see Baby Hatch, which did help me a fair bit. He also didn't play his Boo Unison on 4 because he thought I had Zamasu in hand, which was very correct. I did have Zamasu in hand. So he would have tapped down and essentially lost then if he went for that routing of play. And then round 6 we had Blue Baby. Blue Baby is a good deck, and it's probably even a better deck after the ban and Limit and Errata comes into play on 6th of August. However, once again, Absolute Annihilation, there's not too much for him to do. He played into Koitsukai a couple of times, which I thought was a bit weird. However, not much we can do about that. I was just able to, he lost 4 cards from Koitsukai, which seemed a bit odd, but maybe he was on quite low life, and if he didn't use those negates, he probably wasn't able to do much. So I was able to push through, and yeah, when the following turn after Koitsukai, when he Dimension Magic, I went cool, switch energy to rest mode with my dude, and then I went double Bergamo, Ferocious Roar, and I tapped down the rest of his energy, and from that point he couldn't really do anything. So that was that round. Anyway, that was my deck profile / report. I hope you guys enjoyed. I did enjoy playing Mecha Frieza. It was my first real time playing Mecha Frieza. The deck's a bit dumb, but hey, what can you say? Zamasu is a very good card. The threat of Zamasu is better than Zamasu itself, because people play around Zamasu quite easily, but the fact that you're forcing them to play an extra turn, just if you leave your 2 open energy up, they're going to assume you have Zamasu in hand, which a lot of the time you could have Zamasu in hand, but just the threat of Zamasu is way more important than anything else. And that's why I wanted to play the deck, because I really wanted that threat of Zamasu. I didn't get to just make people cry from them tapping 4 for Unison and then playing Zamasu. However, I made people not play their Unisons on 4, which gave me an extra turn to really push the advantage, which was lovely. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know what order but I'm putting my videos out, but if you've made it to this far, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If they're not out already, we will have another SS4 Vegeta profile with Anthony Hain. He's got a really cool list. I really enjoy making the video with him and talking to him. Then I've got his brother, Timothy Haynes, OG Soul Striker, Invoker build that he came 6th with, which was really impressive. And then we're going to have the top cut breakdown, and hopefully I'll be able to get some more deck profiles on the top cut decks later on for you guys. Trying to get Peter's King Vegeta deck, but we will see how that goes. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one. See ya.